Hey y'all, today I'm going to make a recipe that I've wanted to make for about a year and have just not gotten around to it. But if you remember when I went to see my sister about a year ago in Idaho, I had eaten apple sauerkraut, and it was so good, and it's just stuck in my mind, and I wanted to make it again, so I found a recipe and we're going to try it. And I'll tell you the ingredients, and then I'll go and get them prepared, and then I'll come back and we'll put it together and cook it. So here is a bag of already prepared sauerkraut, and it's a 2-pound bag, and 2 apples, and these are pretty big, at least the green one is. This one is a Gala, and this one is a Granny Smith. You can use whatever kind of apples you want, or you can use the same kind, sweet, sour, whatever you want. An onion, some butter. This is my grease bucket, and there's bacon grease in here, and that's what we'll use, and some apple juice. So I'm going to get the things cut up and prepared, and I'll be back and we'll get it put together. I've got the ingredients prepared that I needed to do, and I drained the sauerkraut, and washed it, not washed it, but rinsed it and drained it, all the juice off of it. Then the apples and the onion, I sliced those real thin, and we'll be putting those in. So since we're here at the pot, I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of butter to the pot. I've got it heated. And I'm going to add about a tablespoon of bacon grease. And you can put bacon in this. You can fry bacon and break it up and add it. But if you decide to do that, I would just add the bacon at the very end, because if you cook it, this is going to simmer real low for about 2 hours. And if you put that bacon in there, you're going to have very unappetizing bacon. It'll get kind of rubbery and floppy, and it just doesn't have a good texture. So this butter and bacon grease is about melted, so what I'm going to do is put the onion, only the onion, in the grease and the butter. And we're going to get it soft. And I probably should have gotten a second pan, but I didn't. So here are the 2 apples that we're going to add in just a minute. And when I went to it was Idaho where I went to see my sister, and when we ate at this little, it was a little outdoor restaurant, and they served really good hot dogs, and they had a couple different stations around the outside eating area where they had this, well, not necessarily this apple sauerkraut, but they had apple sauerkraut in crocks, and they had onion and ketchup, mustard, relish, all different things you would want on a hot dog. But the apple sauerkraut was just incredibly good, and so you might want to use this on hot dogs or just eat it as a side dish. It's just so good. I'm not a huge sauerkraut fan. Sometimes on a hot dog I enjoy it, but this is something that I've been looking forward to making, and I just don't know why I've taken so long to do it. So the onions are getting soft and sauteed. And limp, you can see they're to the stage now where we can add our other stuff. So I'm going to add our apples. Put those on down in there. And I'm going to add our sauerkraut. And then I'm going to put the liquid in, then I'm going to stir it because it's too hard to stir right now. I'm going to take our apple juice, or you could use apple cider, would probably even be a little better. And I'm going to pour, that's probably about 3 cups or so. Just so you have a good amount. This is going to slowly simmer for about 2 hours. And the apples are going to make some broth, so you don't want it just floating in broth. I'll check later and see how the broth's doing, but this is almost to the top of the sauerkraut and the apples, so I think that should be good for now. So we're just going to let this simmer. Like I say, let it simmer for 2 hours, but every so often, maybe every half hour or so, just come in and give it a little stir, check and make sure it's still slowly simmering. That's what you want, is a very low simmer. And when it's done, we will give it a taste test. So I will see you back when it's ready. The apple sauerkraut has finished cooking, and there's one last ingredient that you put in at the end that I forgot to mention earlier, so we'll do that. But I'm going to take the lid off, set it aside, then I'm going to bring you down so you can see in the pot, and it's turned a real pale goldish orange. It looks a little bit different in the camera, but it's nice and tender looking. I didn't add any more juice. This is just from the apples and the apple juice I put. But you do add about 2 tablespoons of packed brown sugar, and that kind of helps counteract the sourness of the sauerkraut. Just a minute, just a minute. So I'm stirring that up, and I got it all mixed in there, and you can see little bits of apple, but most of it has turned into applesauce. So I'm putting some in the bowl, and here's what it looks like. And I'm going to give it a taste, and hopefully it will be as good as what I tasted in Idaho. Or I believe it might have been Washington that we were in at that time. It's really hot. Oh, this is good. This may be as good as that I had at that roadside restaurant. This is really, really good. The taste of the apple is present. You can You don't have to make it a stretch to taste it. And it is good. I hope you give it a try. If you don't like sauerkraut, you still might possibly like this because it's not got that real sauerkraut taste to it. It's really good. I'm glad I gave it a try. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.